Me making premium content? What is this? Today I'm gonna be going over a deck that I wanted to go over at first about a year ago actually, maybe a bit less than a year ago. Let's say like, I don't know, 11 months. So this is Gavrail Ultima, and this is a deck that I really like playing in the GPT-14 format, so right before the Bermuda booster and the whole reboot. But I had a lot of fun with this deck, but it has a complicated combo, which I always forgot when I tried to come back to it after some time, and then it took me some time to remember that combo and how to do it. And even now, I think when I'm gonna show you the combo, it might not be as perfect and complete as it could be, but it's gonna be a variation. So how this video is gonna go is that I'll show you how this loop in quotation marks, because it's not like a endless loop. It's a loop that ends at a certain point, but because of the deck's nature, it can keep going for a while. I'll show you how the loop worked in the G era, and then I'll show you how it's adapted in Premium, so with the new V-Series triggers and all the, any other new cards that we can use to kind of maximize the loop as much as possible and make sure that it's relatively consistent. So I can make a completely different video, talking about the way I enjoy Premium. It's not so much like in competing or, so much in finding those like crazy combos that like opponents can't shut down or stuff like that. It's more about finding fun interactions between cards and seeing if something can be made out of that. And this loop, it was originally made by Kurz from Twitter. And so he he actually set out the deck list at first too, so this one that you see from the G era was essentially his with like a few card changes here and there, but then the one that I'm going to show you for Premium is something that I built myself actually, so it's just kind of an improved version of the current deck. So I'll show you how the how the combo works in G, and then I'll show you how it works in Premium, and then in a separate video I'll show the actual deck profile of the deck in Premium. Alright, so we've set up a kind of potential setup, let's say this is far into the game, you've taken 5 damage. Doesn't have to be 5 actually, it can be less. The counterblast only matters to an extent in terms of extending the loop. Obviously you need 2 face-up damage to actually use Ultima, and then it's nice to have this, the Zabanya. I'll just bring her to attention in terms of enabling the loops a bit further. So those are kind of the only requirements, but I put 5 just, for the sake of it. Then we have our, at least 3 face-up G units, because that is the cost for Ultimate Stride, or the condition for Ultimate Stride rather. So you've stridden once and you've G-guarded once essentially, so it's pretty easy to achieve, making sure that you actually enable the Ultima on second stride. Our hand can literally be just this, so the Ultimate Stride fodder and a Malik. Malik is really important here, so do keep that in mind. So we're going to Ultimate Stride, paying the cost by discarding the same card as our Vanguard, and Ultimate Stride into the Ultima. What we're going to do first actually, because both Ultima and Gavrail Prim skills go on standby at the same time, so we're going to use Ultima first by counterblasting 2, so we want to counterblast some stuff that's not very important. So counterblasting 2, and you search your deck for 4 cards. I don't know if you guys remember how Ultima works, but and you search for 4 cards, 2 of them you'll call and 2 of them you'll stack on top of your deck. So, and our deck is mostly triggers, and well, not mostly triggers actually, it's a lot of normal units too, but quite a lot of stand triggers, which is important. You run 12 stand triggers in this deck. So we search these 4 cards, these are the important cards, and then we shuffle the rest. So, just to show that it's not stacked, I will shuffle it. And then what's going to happen is that we're going to be able to call 2 of them, and going to be able to put 2 of them on top of the deck. So what's going on top of the deck is actually not triggers, but these 2 cards. So the important kind of combo pieces to start this is the Azazel being on top, and then the Malik being the second one. So we're going to put these on top of our deck, just like that. And then we're going to call these 2, which are Aratron, which is our kind of the combo extender, and then we're going to call Sarasha, or Saraosha rather, on the other one, because she has the rescue ability, which is important for enabling our grade 2 that we just mentioned. So now we've resolved Ultima skill, we can now do Gavrail Prim. So we have to choose a card from our hand and put it into the damage zone, and then swap 1 card in the damage with, whatever. So let's just take a Stride fodder, doesn't really matter. So this goes to our hand, same as like a no-CL skill or something. And then what we're going to be able to do is rescue 1, which is the kind of important part. So let's just rescue away this stand trigger, it doesn't really matter. So rescue into the Azazel, so no trigger, but the Azazel is very important because her effect allows us to call her out of the damage zone when our rescue unit attacks. So we're going to be triggering off of this, and then Aratron is going to be able to pull up anything we rescue away from the drop zone on anywhere in the same column as her. So it can be on top of her or behind her, so that's pretty important. One thing I'll quickly note though, because this is something that people, you know, back in the day got wrong, and I think it's worth to mention again. Malik only works when she's called from damage zone, so you cannot revive her with Aratron and use her skill. She has to be called from damage zone, so please do keep that in mind. So now our damage zone is pretty much set up. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna start off pretty slow. We're gonna attack. You can also, like, you don't really want to use the Saraosha skill here, because she does have the skill that you can counterblast 1 on GB1 to just rescue 1. But then you're going to be taking the Malik that we have here face up, and you actually don't mind if she's face down or face up either, so we can just do that. So we attack with the 9k, maybe it doesn't hit anything, that doesn't matter too much. Attack with the 11, then when our rescue unit attacks, we can activate Azazel's skill, so we can counterblast, let's say, we can counterblast this, and then we can call out the Azazel here. It doesn't really matter where you call it, but she can be called anywhere to any rearguard circle, so they just call her here. Her effect is going to continue to resolve, and what happened is that you put the top card of your deck into your damage zone face down. This feels very standard-like, and then you get to rescue 1. And so we're going to rescue the Zabanya and then take 1. And we get a stand trigger. Like I said, I shuffled the deck, so you know, the stand is just there by coincidence, but we're now going to be able to use Ultima's skill to apply the stand trigger to all of our units, and that's very nice. But it doesn't end there. We rescued the Zabanya, which is pretty huge, meaning we can use her skill. So we can counterblast 1, and then activate Aratron's skill to pull up Zabanya behind the Aratron. And I know that she has glare on her. I can't really do that with the light here, so we're just going to resolve Aratron now. So her skill lets us counterblast 1 and soul blast 1. So we're going to counterblast 1, and then just take one of our souls and soul blast it. And then we have to take 1 card from our hand and put it into the damage zone. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to be able to call 1 card from our damage zone from face up on a rearguard circle. So we're going to call Malik, which will trigger her skill, meaning that every time she boosts or attacks, at the end of the battle, you can rescue 1, which is huge. And then we still get to rescue 1 from her skill, so we can choose whatever really. Let's choose the No CL stand trigger and rescue it away and take the top card. It's not a stand trigger, so nothing else happens. But now we already applied 1 stand trigger, meaning that all of these units have plus 5k. So now we'll attack with a 14. Then we're going to attack with, this is an 18, but she gets plus 2 from Zabanya, so it's 20 plus the 5 that she got from the stand trigger, so it's a total of 25. And then we're going to trigger Malik's skill to rescue 1, and then we can just rescue away the stand trigger again. You can easily like use Aratron at any of these points to call something behind Zabanya, because now, to call something behind Aratron, because now Zabanya doesn't actually do anything. So she already used up her kind of one-time use. So we're going to rescue 1, we get a stand trigger, very nice, so we get to stand everything. And then go at it again. So we're going to now, we have plus 5k once again on everything. So now she attacks for 19. Then we're going to attack for this, this was 25, so now it's 35. We get to use Malik again. This time, as soon as you have Surgery Angel in your damage zone, you want to be using it. So what you're going to do is you're going to rescue away the Surgery Angel, check 1, okay, nothing. Now you're going to be able to activate Aratron's skill to counterblast 1 and call the Surgery Angel behind the Aratron. Because if now we rip a stand with the skill, with the drive check of Ultima, we're going to be able to restand our field, boost with this, and then use a skill immediately to put him back, and then rescue check once again. And he doesn't have to be called from damage zone, meaning that he can be called from drop zone with Aratron and reuse his skills. So that's very nice. So now let's attack with our Ultima. We had like, what, 2 stand triggers, so he has, he's normally 36, so now he's going to be 46, which is pretty nice. So we'll do our triple drive, we get a heal, we can heal, and our whole board gets a plus 5k boost. We get a Zabanya, and a stand trigger, so that's perfect. We get a stand, we get to stand everything. Our board has received another plus 10k buff, which is super nice. So we'll put all of this into our hand. Then we did heal, so now we're back down to 4 damage. What we can keep doing is essentially, we're going to attack with the Aratron first. Then we're going to use the Surgery Angel skill to counterblast 1 and put him back to deck. Because we have 1 more rescue check here, so it's obviously going to be more effective if we put the stand back to our deck and have a higher chance of checking stands. So we're going to shuffle our deck with Surgery Angel skill, and then rescue 1. Doesn't really matter what, so let's just rescue this away. And now we get the Azazel. Here, Azazel, she can be used as like an extender but it's kind of hard to use because then you lose the Aratron, and you don't really want to do that, because if you can get back a Surgery Angel, then you can make another attack. But if you've seen that, let's say you're more or less out of stand triggers, like we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we have 7, and then 8 in hand, but then we still have 4 stand triggers left in a relatively small deck, because Angel Feather does deck out pretty easily. I think it's worth to risk it and not use the Azazel skill here. So what you can still do though is, like, if you want to rescue this, like reuse the Aratron skill, as I said, it's not once per turn, so you can keep using it over and over again. We can legit just like counterblast 1 and just call this here in case we get a stand. So we can attack now. This was, what, 35 last time? They each got plus 10k buff, so it's a 55 attack, and then we get to rescue 1. So let's rescue away the Stride Fodder, and take 1, and we get a stand. So there we go. So now everything restands, everything gets a 5k buff. So that's really nice. So now we're going to be able to keep going, and then you just keep on going and going and going, and this loop just kind of continues like that. So then we attack again, and then we won't be able to do a rescue check here, but we can do this. Or actually no, sorry, we don't attack with this, we just attack with this alone, because we're going to be able to rescue check now, and then basically just put this here, and rescue check. We get a stand, so we stand these two, but what's important is we can counterblast this and call the Surgery Angel here, because we rescued him. So that works like that, and then we can once again just like counterblast 1. You want to keep the Azazel open just in case, like just in case you want to extend with her. You know, put this back, you know, do your little shuffle here and there. I think we still have quite a few stands here, left in here. And then we're gonna do this, rescue 1, nothing, but you can use her skill to counterblast 1 and bring it back. And then we're gonna attack again with a big number, rescue 1, and then do this, and then that's like the end of the loop. So that's when you don't have any stand triggers left, or you feel like you won't check them anymore, you can still apply Azazel and call her here and attack 1 more time. And then you could potentially, like, what you could have done there actually is, like, on attack, like you couldn't have actually done it because this was counterblasted, so you would have had to counterblast the Azazel, but like hypothetically what you could have done is like call the Azazel and then attacked again and then reuse the Surgery Angel again, stuff like that. But that's basically how the loop kind of worked in the G format. So now I'll show you how you can improve it and change it in the premium format. Alright, so now in premium the combo becomes, surprise surprise, easier to set up, because the only requirements to get this whole thing rolling is to have a Malik in your damage zone or in your hand, whichever one works, because of Prim's stride bonus skill. So literally you can have 1 card in hand being your ultimate stride fodder. You still need to have your 3 or more face-up G units just like last time, but we're just going to discard the Gavrail Prim and go for our ultimate stride into Ultima. So this is really going to be the Ultima combo. So how it's going to work is we're going to use Ultima's skill as soon as we ride into it, so well, stride into it rather, to counterblast 2. And we're going to search our 4 cards. And now the cards that we search are different from last time, so do keep that in mind. You can't get away with the same stuff as before. So we see our deck, and let's see. What we need here is to search out 2 antibodies, which are our requirement for what we're going to call. And then what we search on top of the deck has not changed. It's going to be Azazel and the Malik once again. So we don't search out any triggers as you normally would with Ultima if you're playing any other variant. You know, because that's usually what you do, like in Shadows or Golds or Royals, etc., Genesis, OTT. There's a lot of United Sanctuary clans, but anyway. So we do our shuffle, and then we're going to put these 2 cards, again, the Azazel needs to be on top, and the Malik needs to be the second card. So we're going to put these down like this, and then what's going to happen is we're going to call our 2 antibodies, and just leave them like that. Now the only thing is that we still need to use Gavrail's stride bonus skill. So when I said that, like, you literally need to have 1 card in hand, like, the one specific card is Gavrail Prim, but you can have literally anything else in your hand because you need to use Gavrail Prim's skills. So you'll use her skill by putting 1 card from hand into damage zone and then swapping 1. It can be absolutely anything, so just swap for the record of swapping. And then what we're going to do, so that's going to go to our hand, we're going to rescue 1 from the Gavrail Prim skill. So we're going to rescue 1, it can be absolutely anything, and get the Azazel that we put on top. So just like we wanted. So now that we've rescued, we will proc both of our antibody Pegasus skills. So we're going to use the first one first. So we're going to counterblast 1 and soul blast 1. So now we have our soul set up as well, which is nice. So we're going to soul blast the 1. And so it reads, when your card is put into the drop zone from your damage zone during your turn, so that's what we just did. If your Vanguard has Gavrail in its card name, which it does, we may pay the cost, and then you can choose a face-up card from your damage zone, call it to your guard face-up, and put the top card of your deck into your damage zone face-up. So, we're gonna take our Malik and call it right here. So that works like that. And now we can take the top card and put it face up. But we still have the requirements to use Antibody Pegasus skill because they procced at the same time. So we can still do our Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 1. So we do that. And then we can select the Malik and then take the top card face up. And actually we can even put the Malik here. And then take the top card face up, we get a stand trigger, everybody gets power, very big, happy times. So now we legit don't need Antibody Pegasus anymore. You can keep one because you can potentially call out the Aratron the next time you rescue, but now you have two Maliks set up next to each other. So what you can easily do is just like attack with this column over and over and over again and try to keep checking stand triggers. So we can attack with this first, it's just attacking for 14, and then attack with this, and we're gonna rescue 2. We can rescue our face down damage, it doesn't matter too much for the moment. So we're gonna rescue 2, and we get a Gavrail Prim, absolutely nothing, and a stand trigger. Hooray, we can now stand 2. Well, stand our whole board, and everybody gets the plus 5k bonus on top of that. But since we sent something to the damage zone, we can actually activate Antibody Pegasus skill here as well. So we can Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast our last card, because we only have 3 to begin with, and then call out, for example, the Aratron. So now next time we rescue the Surgery Angel, we can just take him like that. And then we have to take the top card as face up. Sadly, that doesn't activate the trigger check. That would have been a very nice trigger check to get, but what can you do? So we attack with our, with our Aratron, and then we attack with our double rescue setup Malik. And then Malik will once again rescue 2. This time I'm gonna rescue one of these Surgery Angels and rescue whatever else. And then rescue crit everywhere. And something else. So now everything gets a plus 10k buff and a crit on top of that, and we can still activate this to Counterblast 1 and call the Surgery Angel here. You could have left this standing so that you can still attack with and rescue check one more time, but let's say you attacked with it, and just did it like that, but obviously, actually you would keep it standing like that. That would be a bit of a smarter move. So let's just say he kept standing. I don't feel like re-recording this, so we're gonna activate his skill. So sadly we will have to Counterblast 1 and put this back, because now we have one more stand trigger in the deck, depending on what we get from this check, of course, but we have that. So then we're gonna do our rescue check, so we just rescue away this and check 1, and it's a Malik, so nothing happens. So then we attack with our Ultima, and we're gonna get our 3 checks. So we get a Prim, we get a stand trigger, everything stands, and we get some more rescue checks, and then we get another Aratron, so those go to our hand. So that's going to be that. So now that everything stood, we can continue going. So we can actually attack with this, and then we can proc our 2 rescue checks. So then we can rescue away, well, it doesn't really matter too much actually, but do keep in mind that here, if you don't activate the Azazel here and you don't get any stands, then you won't be able to do it again, so keep that in mind. So let's rescue away these 2, and then rescue check again. We get a stand, so we get to stand everything. And we get a PG, so nothing. But our deck is getting dangerously low. We have like 7 cards in deck, so you basically just keep on going until you can't go anymore. So now we're gonna activate the... actually no, we're gonna attack again twice. So we're gonna be able to attack with this first. So we can attack once again, it has a huge power boost as usual. And then we can rescue 2. So this time they're not counterblasted, so we just rescue 2 like this. And then check, oh look, a heal, we can even heal something, that's amazing. And then we can check again, and oh look, a stand, so we can check, stand everything again. But then since we put something into the drop zone, we can Counterblast 1 and bring back our Surgery Angel right here. And then attack with this, use the skill to put the Surgery Angel back into deck, and now we might even be able to set up, we can check the deck, actually we have 2 Surgery Angels in there and a heal, so we're gonna see what we get, but we can rescue 1 now from the Surgery Angel skill, and oh look, it's a Surgery Angel, we get to stand everything once again. And then because we rescued 1, we can reuse this again, attack with it again, and then use the skill again to put back the Surgery Angel and do our shuffle, and then try for another Surgery Angel use again. So we'll do the rescue, we'll check a stand, epic. So we get to restand this, bring back this, and just keep, this one keeps on going until you run out of Counterblast. But even then, like, you can actually not attack with this. For example, you can leave this standing for now, attack with this column first to rescue 2 so you have some Counterblast, because obviously we're running pretty low. And I can see that we have a Surgery Angel in here, so that's pretty nice. So we can just rescue like that and take our 2 rescue checks. We get another Azazel and the Metatron. I think we're almost out of normal units in the deck. And then we can attack with the Surgery Angel, counterblasting the Metatron, put back our Surgery Angel. We have 4 cards left in deck. 3 of them are triggers, so if we get the PG, confirmed unlucky, but then we can basically just rescue one, but we'll rescue away the Surgery Angel that we have here. And then we check, and we get our normal unit, which ends the combo there, but you know that there's a heal and stand there, but usually this amount of attacks would be enough to finish a game. So this is what the loop looks like in Premium, and the Antibody Pegasus honestly makes it so much easier to do, because you just call 2 of them and you set up the Malik immediately, and it's super effective. So Antibody Pegasus is really huge and very important for this combo, because you just call him out with Ultima and you get to put the Malik's life immediately. And you know, the double Malik column is really strong. You can call 2 of them like this as well if you want, but the double Malik column is just really big, and with the standard V-Series triggers, it also becomes even bigger. So this was the demonstration of the Ultima Gavrail loop. So this, I just really wanted to share this because it's one of my favorite interactions in the game, and I think it's just really fun to do overall. So I hope you guys enjoyed my demonstration of the Ultima loop. Do look forward to the deck profile, because I'm going to be going over both what the deck looked like in the G-Series before the reboot and what it looks like now with the new V-Series support in terms of the deck build. So I'll release that very soon, as soon after this video, so maybe like the day after. So do look forward to that. If you're interested in Angel Feather, this deck will become pretty easy to pick up because a lot of the cards are overall relatively cheap. And then what's good is that this, not this Gavrail, the other one, this Gavrail is receiving a reprint in the Revival collection as well as Ultima as well. And then, you know, we have the Premium collection coming up as well, which might even enhance this deck even further. So we'll see how that interacts. But this is honestly one of my favorite decks in Premium. I think it's very fun to play. And I think it's just overall really cool, and I really like this loop, overall this combo in general. You know, huge props to Kurz. You can check him out on Twitter. I don't know if he plays much Vanguard anymore, but he was the one that created this loop in the first place, and it works even better now in the V-Series. So that's going to be it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.